So building my personal brand and creating content has been a huge part of my success in real estate as a broker, as an investor, as a developer, but also for my business partners and a lot of people I work with. It is very obvious and very common that one of the patterns that cause their success is they have built their personal brands. And in this video, I want to show you how, as a real estate broker, you can go from never creating social media content before to building a personal brand, generating content that is generating you inbound business and inbound leads. And so if you haven't created content yet, and maybe you know you need to be doing it, or you're procrastinating, or you've heard a few other people say you should do it, but you haven't executed, my experience is there are primarily three reasons why people aren't creating content. Number one is you don't yet see the return on investment. Now, I could spend a long time talking about the ROI of creating content, but my business partner, Aidan, we looked at the amount of content that he's posted as a real estate broker over 3 years in Dubai, and we realized that for every one Instagram reel he posted, he generated 8,000 dirham in personal income in his pocket. And I could tell you countless stories of case studies of success stories where myself, but also other brokers, have earned millions of dirhams off of social media directly. So the ROI is there, and it is one of the highest leverage activities you can be doing as a real estate broker. So you need to be planning your day around your content, not planning your content creation around your day. And it's why within Imara, our real estate brokerage out here in Dubai, one of our core pillars is to be a media first business. And what that means for brokers is really taking the business strategy shift and also the identity shift of understanding that you are almost a media company first, and the service you provide as a broker is on the back end. The examples I always use of this to drive the point home is you look at KSI and Logan Paul, they're media companies first. Prime Hydration, the fastest growing beverage company in the world, is a business on the back end that services that trust and attention that they build through their media company. Mr. Beast, with his chocolate brand Feastables, his primary focus is generating trust and attention through content. The business is on the back end. The Kardashians, media empire, billion-dollar businesses on the back end. The list goes on and on and on. And the beautiful thing is when you create content, the reason it's such a high leverage task is you're essentially scaling yourself. It's the highest form of leverage in the sense that when you have digital assets that are out there in the ether on these computer servers being served to hundreds, if not thousands or tens of thousands of people all across the world, these assets are working for you 24/7, 365 days of the year. While you're sleeping, while you're at the office, while you're not at the office, while you're on holiday, these assets are working for you, getting the attention of prospective buyers and sellers, building trust to them, so eventually they decide they want to do business with you. So first reason is people don't see the ROI, and hopefully the more time you spend around people that create content, you quickly see that is the return on investment there. The second reason is there's a fear of judgment, and this is sometimes disguised by people saying that they may be a bit of a perfectionist or whatever, but deep down, if they're really honest with themselves, they get to the root cause of it. There's a fear of judgment, and there's a coaching process that I take people through to overcome this fear of judgment. Primarily, it's actually not caring or not fearing what everybody thinks. If you relate to this, I'll be honest, it's probably a fear of what a very few select specific people think. It might be family members, it might be close friends, but step one is to identify the fear, and then, like I say, I've coached many people through that process. And the third reason is they don't have a strategy. They know they need to do it because they know the ROI is there, they feel comfortable doing it, and they've dissolved that fear of judgment. They just don't feel like they have a strategy. And as we all know, confusion is the enemy of execution. When you don't have a strategy for building your personal brand and creating content, you just procrastinate, you hesitate. So I want to share with you in this video what the strategy is for you to create content, start generating inbound business right away. So step one is that you just need to start. And you want to start by being a specialist in a particular area, a particular community, a particular market segment. Many marketers will tell you the riches are in the niches. The more you can niche down or niche down and focus on a targeted area, the easier it is to dominate the market share of attention within that niche. So if it's a particular community, you just want to be creating content about that particular community if that's where your buyers and sellers and your clients are going to be. And so from a content perspective, when you're starting out, you also need to kind of somewhat forget about going viral and getting lots of views. Actually, we kind of have this distorted perception, at least most of us, around what a lot of views is. I've seen some people say, oh, I just posted a video, got 500 views, it was a bit of a flop. But I would ask them, how would you feel if I asked you to walk on stage now and speak to a room of 500 people? They'd be pretty scared and it'd be pretty daunting, especially if you've never done public speaking before. Because if you look at a room of 500 people, it's a lot of people, especially if that 500 people are your targeted audience. And so you just got to start. Now, the other reason you kind of want to detach yourself from going viral and getting lots of views is the primary purpose of creating content and this library of digital assets in the early stages of your content creation journey. It's actually because this content supports the outbound work that you're doing and the connections that you're generating offline originally. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's say when you're cold calling and you get through to someone and you call the right person at the right time, have a very friendly conversation, instead of then waiting another week or another few days before you cold calling them again, you of course can send them a message, and you can send them through your social media profile or a couple videos that provide value on one of the topics you spoke about in that particular piece of content. You can send a message saying, hey, it was amazing to chat. By the way, here's a quick video I made about XYZ that we discussed. Thought it'd be useful for you to put a name and a face to the voice. Great to connect. We'll speak in a few days. And so they're going to click onto your profile. They're going to see your content. If they like it, they're going to click follow. Even if they don't, the algorithm is going to keep serving content to them because they would have seen the average watch time on the video is a little bit higher. So it's going to support your outbound. Secondly, when you're meeting people in coffee shops or in hotel lobbies or just out and about, and you connect and they say, oh, you're a real estate broker. I'm thinking of investing in real estate over the next 12 months. Let's connect. And instead of giving business cards or giving the WhatsApp, sure, exchange numbers, but get them to follow you on your social media, on Instagram, because then the contact and the original lead has originated offline, but then they're going to see you showing up every single day and you're going to stay top of mind. And months might even go by, but when they're ready, 6, 9, 12 months, 2 years down the line, because you've been showing up, you've been building that trust, they're going to message you first. So the primary focus of creating content in the short term is to support the connections you're making offline through your outbound work and through just referrals and meeting people out and about, whatever you're doing. So second to that is you need to understand there are 3 types of content you can be creating. There's top of funnel content, there's middle of funnel content, and there's bottom of funnel content. Now those are marketing terms. To explain that a bit more simply, you create content that is optimized for getting new awareness and new attention. These are videos that have a bit more of an entertaining factor. They serve a broader audience. They can go a little bit more viral. If you've seen in Dubai real estate, it drives me nuts, but these brokers that say they do the millionaire, not millionaire, billionaire, not billionaire, when they're looking at cars or watches or whatever, it's nothing to do with real estate, but they get a lot of views because they cause people to argue in the comments. Now that is content that gets people attention, but it isn't content that converts people or really builds trust. And so the purpose of top of funnel content is to have people to discover you for the first time. They can make a primary brand association. They can see, okay, this person, I clicked on their profile, I can see they're interested or they're involved in Dubai real estate. And if you get 10,000 people view that content, well then there's going to be a percentage, 3, 4, 5% of those people that see the content, see that primary brand association and think, oh, I'm interested in Dubai real estate, I'm going to follow this person. And so you're getting new followers into your ecosystem through the top of funnel content. The middle of funnel content is content that's focused around nurturing and building trust. And trust is built through time. The more time someone spends consuming your content, the more that depth of relationship is built, the more they trust you, the more they know, like, and trust you and want to do business with you. And trust is also built through delivering value. And so this is very specialist content where you can really showcase your expertise, really showcase your knowledge, and you don't have to worry about it getting pushed out to new audiences. It's content that's going to get served to the people that already follow you, or people you've connected with offline through cold calling or through hanging out in hotel lobbies. The third piece of content, the bottom of funnel content, is optimized for conversion. And so this is what comes last. You've got their attention, you've built trust through weeks and months of high value content demonstrating your knowledge and expertise. And then bottom of funnel conversion-based content is when you're asking from your audience a signal of interest. It could be a call to action where you say, hey, if you would like to speak about XYZ, or if you would like this PDF or this report that I've put together. It could be an ad that you run as a retargeting ad to people that follow you, which you can set up on Facebook, saying, hey, DM me if you're interested in XYZ. There's an ask, and that ask is for people to signal their interest, either to DM you, to download something, to submit their contact info, to book in a call, and progress to the next stage of the sales cycle. So from a strategy perspective, when you're creating content, you need to be thinking, what is some top of funnel content that serves a broader audience, is a little bit more entertaining, that I can generate new followers with? And this is for short form content, by the way. What we're talking about here is Instagram. This is step one. The nurture, the content that's focused on building trust, and then the conversion-based content. Beyond that, what you don't want to be doing, and this is the biggest mistake I see people make in this game. It was actually shocking to me when I started speaking to brokers that were creating content. I was speaking to brokers that were creating content for months, and they were telling me, oh, I'm not getting the results that I wanted. And I was shocked when I discovered this. And it was, you've got to understand, when someone follows you on Instagram, that is a lead. If you think about 10,000 people have seen your content, of that, 100 people have seen your content and decided to follow you. Put yourself into the psychology of why someone just chosen to follow you. They've seen your content, they think, I like this person, I'm interested in Dubai real estate, I'm going to follow this person because I'm interested in more. And so when they follow you, most people, they don't message that follower. They're waiting for people to reach out to them directly on Instagram and say, hey, I'm interested in buying or selling. But if you're just waiting for people to message you, well, then you're only capturing 1, 2, or 3% of the total interest and trust that you're building with your audience. If you message every follower, every person that likes your content, every person that comments on your content with a very simple message, if they're a follower, you can say, hey, thanks for the follow. Want to make sure I'm providing the best content possible. I'm curious to know, what is it that prompted you to follow my account? It's a very beautiful, easy, open question. And typically the responses are going to be along the lines of, I'm interested in Dubai real estate, I've bought a unit here, I'm whatever. And you can then start a conversation from there, progress them to the next stage of the sales cycle and book in a call. So that's step one. Message everyone that follows you. Step two is, as your audience grows and you start to dial in your content a little bit more, you can run these retargeting ads on Facebook, where for very little budget, you can get ads in front of your warm audience and direct them to message you or download a sudden lead magnet. And then once you want to start playing the content game properly, long form YouTube content is where I'm seeing brokers win. And there's a number of benefits for creating YouTube content as a broker. Benefit number one is YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world. And a lot of YouTube traffic is high intent search traffic. And so if someone is thinking of buying in Abu Dhabi off-plan projects and they go onto YouTube and they search Abu Dhabi off-plan, the intent of that user is pretty high. If someone's searching that into YouTube and discovering your videos, that is a very warm, if not really, like a hot lead. And so although you might be getting less views on YouTube, the quality and the intent of those viewers is significantly higher. And as it stands right now, that's why I'm a little bit reluctant to be speaking about YouTube, is YouTube is massively undersupplied in terms of content when it comes to Dubai real estate. Even for me, as someone that's looking to rent in certain communities, certain locations, even buy in certain locations, I wanted to go onto YouTube and make an informed buying decision and research as much as I could. And I was shocked at how little there was for me to learn. The second big benefit of YouTube and why it's such a big lever for people to pull is the average watch time is much higher. If you even just observe your own scrolling behavior on Instagram or TikTok, just look at how much time you give a piece of content. The average watch time is 10 seconds, 15 seconds on a good piece of content. Trust is built over time, and real estate transactions are built over trust. And so the more time you can get someone to spend watching you and binge watching your content, the more they're going to trust you, the more likely they're going to want to do business with you. When it comes to short form content like Instagram and TikTok, sure, you can build some trust, you can build some relationship, but YouTube, the average watch time is substantially higher. People can spend much more time with you, and therefore the relationship is going to be much deeper. You're going to build more trust. They're more likely to want to do business with you. And that's why YouTubers are actually just more famous, more loved, have bigger cult followings than Instagram influencers. And so they're the main benefits of YouTube and long form content. When you are a real estate broker, you are a business, and your results start to compound, and social media, it compounds. The more you do of it, the better you get. The more you transact, the bigger your track record, the more you can reinvest into it. And the third benefit of YouTube is the massive residual value of the content. And what I mean by that is YouTube content continues to get views and traffic for months and sometimes years into the future. Whereas when you create an Instagram reel or a TikTok, it gets most of its views and has most of its impact in the first 24 to 48 hours, maybe sometimes a little bit longer. I can create a YouTube video today and it will still get views 6 months from now. I recognize this video I'm creating now can be watched and will be watched by somebody 6 months from now, 12 months from now. It's an asset that's working for me long into the future. The final thing I'll say with content and social media, just building on that final point, is that it's the only way for you to transcend space and time. If I don't have digital assets working for me 24/7 around the world, well then my output is completely constrained to my physical body and what I can do in a day to day. I can only spend X amount of hours a day cold calling, I can only spend X amount of days doing viewings and generating new business, but content and digital assets can work for me 24/7 around the world and be viewed an infinite amount of times. It allows me and allows you to scale and duplicate yourself. So if you want to find out more about how we can help you, about how Amara can help you create your content for you, help you build your brand and help you generate an inbound business and ultimately become an attraction agent, drop me a DM. The link is in the description. Look forward to chatting. We'll speak soon.